Hi, Austin. How are you? I'm Allison with Flick Direct.
Hi, Allison.
So we're going to talk today about Zoey's extraordinary playlist. I love the show. I can gush for hours about it. But being creator and showrunner, what does that mean exactly? What, as showrunner, are your responsibilities? How much weight is put on your shoulders as compared to others?
All of it. I run the writer's room. I am in charge of the story breaking and all of the arcs and everything for the season. I pick the songs. I work on the way the songs sound with our music producer. I work with our choreographer to create the musical numbers. I'm in charge of casting. I'm on set. I'm in editing. Every aspect of the show from soup to nuts, if we use that expression. I am the overseer of all things Zoey's.
So not too much time, spent on it.
17 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last two and a half years of my life.
Oh my God. Are you ready for it to be over then? Question mark?
Zoey's is, no, I mean, look, this is as challenging as this show is, and it is immensely challenging. I mean, we shoot a new musical every 8 days.
Jeez.
And musicals take 8 years to go to Broadway, and we're doing it in 8 days. So as immensely challenging as it is, and the sacrifices that have to be made, I have 2 young kids and a wife, and the show shoots in Canada, and I was away from the family for a lot of the pandemic shooting the show. As challenging as that is, Zoey's is like my other baby, and I feel very protective of it. So I'm not ready to say goodbye to Zoey yet.
So then give me your quick elevator pitch as to why they should renew it for season 3.
Because it's awesome. No, because I think Zoey's is uniquely different than anything else on television. And I think that the show is joyful and embodies a lot of ideas about compassion and the human spirit that I think are very important in the world right now. And I think that the show is creatively inventive and continues to top itself while also finding deep emotional moments and connections for the audience. And I think it has a very loyal fan base. And I could get into statistics. We won the USA Today Save Our Show poll. We won the TV Line Save Our Show poll. We get nominated for awards. We're in the conversation for Emmys. So I feel like there's a lot of momentum behind the show and a lot of goodwill behind the show. And I feel like for a show to have the kind of that wind on its sails, I don't think that's a time to cancel the show.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with everything you have just said. That was a great elevator pitch. I was going to mention the Save Our Show polls that you guys keep winning. So does that make a difference to the network? Do they look at that? Do they consider that? Tell me how that fits in.
Well, I don't know what their exact mindset is. I don't know. I'm not in the rooms behind the closed doors, the room where it happens. But I think that I bombard them with every good thing that comes out, and I think they're aware of those things. And I think that anything that shows audience support and connectivity, I've got to believe that it's important to them. Yeah. I think we were in a deeply challenging time slot our second half of the season this year, and I think that we haven't necessarily had the best lead-ins to help boost us over time. But I don't know how they look at it. I mean, I think the way that people watch television is changing significantly. Yes. And Zoey's is on different platforms and streamers, and I don't watch anything live anymore. So it's hard to know what the criteria is. Now you're getting me on a whole rant about this. I mean, if we're only looking at the overnight numbers, I don't think that tells the whole story or the whole picture of who's watching Zoey's and how.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but that's a great segue into my next question of I've heard rumors of possibly going to Peacock and getting renewed that way. How would that change the dynamics of the show, or would it?
I don't have the answers to that. I mean, I feel like the biggest change I would imagine is that we wouldn't be as beholden to the time constraints of network TV. So we have 42 and a half minutes to tell the stories each week. And inevitably there are scenes and parts of storylines that end up on the cutting room floor just because we don't have the time. And every one of them feels like a loss to me when we have to lose it. So I would imagine that if we're on a streamer, we would have the ability to go a little bit longer, or maybe I could get a little bit deeper in certain things. I don't know. Do we do swear words? Do we stop what the bleep? You know, I don't know. We got to figure that out. But
No.
I would like to think that we would preserve the tone of it and the scope of it, and just maybe have a little bit more time a little more breathing room, I think would be the main difference, I would imagine.
Well, I have to say, you have to keep that bleep at the beginning because it's like a Mad Lib, you know?
Right. You don't know what he's going to say.
Exactly. You think you know, but maybe not. But I would love to see Mo go off. I mean, really go off. I think that would be phenomenal. Just
like a swearing tirade?
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be phenomenal?
Let me talk to Peacock. Let me see what their standards and practices are.
All right, let's make it happen.
Great.
So with other shows, they tend to do a musical episode as a special. For Zoey, as you said, every episode is a musical. So will we get a non-musical episode?
Well, first of all, I think they do one musical episode and they're like, that was insane. Let's never do that again. And we do that. And they're like, yeah, you see what our pain is every single week. We could do a non-musical episode. It doesn't excite me. I feel like when we did the flashback episode this season, episode 12, before Zoey had her powers, the challenge for us in that episode was being creative in how do we still put musical numbers in the show when she doesn't have the powers. And so I thought that was an interesting creative challenge for us to kind of break the rules of the show and try something different. To do an episode that is just purely non-musical, I don't know. I feel like part of what makes the show special is that we have the ability to do it. So I would sort of be sad if we took that away, I think.
I agree with you. I think it would change the tone of that episode. But at the end, I want it to be like a dream and just have a grand musical finale number. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you guys could pull that off immensely beautifully.
Okay, so we'll do an episode with no musical numbers except the biggest one you've ever seen at the end.
Right, exactly.
Let's do it.
Boy, that'll be an easy week for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
One musical number.
We'll spend 7 days just shooting that one number.
I love it. All right. What's your favorite episode?
Oh, I mean, they're all my children.
I know.
I there's certain ones that stand out to me. Each season is just sort of being anomalies or where we took bigger creative swings that I think for me felt creatively successful. So the glitch episode of season 1 where Jane had to sing 6 songs on her own. I mean, the high wire act that she had to pull off that week and what we had to pull off just in doing that episode, I'm very, very proud of that episode. The first season finale where the father passed away and it's based on my own dad and what really happened in our own life. And the 7-minute American Pie number, that's an episode that I'm very proud of too. Season 2, episode 6, the systemic racism episode and everything, the deep dive we did with John Clarence Stewart and Alex Newell and Kapil Talwalkar in that episode, and really trying to be authentic to their own stories and their own experiences. I'm very proud of that episode. Mandy Moore directing episode 11 this season with the Beta Breakers race, her first episode directing ever of TV. So I have certain ones, but I can also pick musical moments here and there, but it's all a blur because it's all part of the same process. It's all part of the creation and the endless challenges of doing the show.
All right, let's talk about moving on to hopefully season 3. We ended season 2 very interestingly. Mo's got this whole new dynamic going on. Max and Zoey. Hi, Max and Zoey. Max is now hearing. Or was that a dream? Did Max not really hear Zoey's heart song?
Great question.
Do you have an idea of where things are headed? Do you have an idea in your head of how you see the whole season and how the story arcs are going to go? And does that change from, throughout the season?
Sure. I mean, typically what you do when you start a season is the first couple of weeks you spend in the room with the writers kind of mapping out the big season arcs. And then inevitably, oh, that thing that we thought was going to be in episode 11, we should actually do it in episode 7. And well, that thing that we thought was going to take 4 episodes really only takes 2. So inevitably things sort of shift and move around on the board as you're kind of creating. I have big notions for season 3 and larger arcs and stuff like that, but excited to get into a room with people and really dig into what those could look like.
Ooh, I'm very excited about that. Tell me a little bit about the music. How much encyclopedia of music are you in your brain, picking all those songs, getting the right songs? Do you do the songs first, or do you write the script and then say, oh, this song would be perfect right there?
First of all, just because of the nature of the process and the time it takes for everything, we always include the songs at the outline stage. And so as we're breaking the story in the room, we're coming up with the songs. And maybe we'll pick 2 or 3 in a moment, but usually it's like, no, this is the one we want. And I've sort of trained everybody, the producers, the studio, and the network, that they have to approve the songs at outline stage, which is early, because we have to start our process of getting the rights, the clearances, getting Harvey Mason Jr., our amazing music producer, to start recording demos, starting to talk to Mandy Moore, our choreographer, producer, about how these dances should feel like. So the songs are brought in very early in the process and with very little room to change. As far as my own encyclopedic knowledge, I would say my musical knowledge is like here. It's not here, it's here. And so I feel like in terms of picking songs, most of the time, the rule I had for the first couple of seasons, and I think this could maybe start to shift a little bit, is I needed to have at least some sort of familiarity with the song. And I feel like if I have familiarity with the song, most of the audience will have familiarity with it, because my musical knowledge isn't here. And because it's like here. I think it's grown a little bit over the last few years. The hard part is now when I'm driving in the car, anywhere on the radio, anytime I hear a song, I think, oh, that could be this. So I can't really listen to music in the same way anymore. It's all in the service of Zoey and the story. And I just have a running list of songs that we haven't used in the show that I think would be good story songs that I just, am always writing down.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Do you hear songs now and go, oh, that would be perfect?
It's all I do. And it's like, actually in the last month or 2, I've tried to not do that, because I've been trying to like just take a moment of like not having it to just sort of take a slight break from it. But once I get back into Zoey story breaking mode, it's all I can do. And then there will be times where we'll listen to 50 songs more before we pick the right one. And we'll just go through song after song after song. We'll look at lists of songs. We'll look at what's the idea that we want to do here. Oh, this idea is about jealousy. So we'll listen to 20 songs that have to do with being jealous before we find the right one.
So there's a lot that goes into encompassing all of this in terms of finding the scene and the song.
Yeah, and I have rules about the songs too that are kind of musical theater rules, that the songs always either have to advance plot, reveal character, or be funny or surprising in some way, or some combo of the 3. And if the song doesn't achieve that, if the song isn't moving story forward or revealing something, then it's not going to work. And so a lot of the songs that are like, oh, that's a great song, we'll listen to it, and it's like you'll get 2 lines in the chorus that work, but the rest of it lyrically doesn't make sense, or isn't the right conceit, or, oh wait, I thought this was a breakup song, but it's really about something else. And so it's a complicated process.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So I guess we're not getting any Baby Shark in there. No?
I mean, listen, we did What Does the Fox Say this season, so nothing's impossible.
I know, I couldn't believe you did that.
We almost did I'm a Gummy Bear. So believe me, we've talked about it.
Oh my God, that's really funny. What else can you tell us about this phenomenal cast that we've already talked about? I mean, every time Alex sings, it's just so emotional, so incredible vocally. And Alex and I have talked about that. But even, John and Jane and everybody, and I mean, the whole cast. Tell me about working with them, the songs, the choreography, how that all comes together for me.
We have such a deep bench of incredibly, really talented performers. And certain people like Skylar and Alex, where it's just effortless for them being Broadway performers. We have people who've come in with different degrees of experience with it, but every single person approaches it, they just dive headfirst into doing it. And Mandy Moore is such an amazing choreographer. And she always, it's never about like, what kind of move does Mandy want here? It's always about her working with the people and their own instruments to create what works right for them and their bodies. And so it's a very collaborative process. And, you know, I'm very fortunate to have a cast that's just so willing to go for it and play. And it really is kind of like boot camp. I mean, when people aren't performing, when people aren't shooting, they're either in the recording booth or they're in the dance studio with Mandy, and there's just an endless flow of work constantly happening. And, you know, we all kind of thrive off of that energy. And it is a little bit like theater in that we're all kind of this sort of repertory thing we're doing together. And, you know, I just feel very, and also that they all challenge me, because they all challenge me in the best ways, because they have a lot of strong feelings about their characters, and they have a lot of, they're very passionate. Every one of them is very passionate. And so wanting to be true and wanting to be authentic and wanting to get to the real of what everything is. And I think that's hopefully part of why the show resonates with people, is because we're always trying to dig deeper, and we're always trying to be true to my experience, their experience, the writer's experiences. And hopefully within that truth comes some sort of universality.
Very quickly, last question for you. If you could have one person, one star that you want to guest star on the show, who would be your go-to person and why?
I mean, Taylor Swift was the first one that popped into my head.
All right, Taylor, yeah.
Billie Eilish was the second one that popped into my head. I think it would be very interesting to get like a real pop star and allow them to actually really do some real acting, but also show off their vocal chops at the same time. And to get maybe audiences to see them in a way that they're not accustomed to seeing them. But like with everything else in this show, to like explore something that's going on beneath the surface, and to, you know, not judging a book by its cover, and to really allow them to do some, use their acting chops if they wanted to. So that seems very exciting to me. And then I have wish lists of big Broadway stars and people like Hugh Jackman and Neil Patrick Harris and people like that. And, you know, I've got running lists of people.
I thought you were going to go with a Broadway star. So when you mentioned Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, I was like, oh, wait, okay, I get that. So yeah. I'm putting my vote in for, let's see, Josh Groban, sure. Billy Joel. Can we get Billy Joel? That'd be awesome.
I mean, we've done 3 Billy Joel songs now, so yeah, sure. Let's get Billy Joel on.
I'll send you my list later. How's that sound? Thank you so much. I'm praying that, and fingers crossed, you guys are renewed for season 3, because I love the show, and it's phenomenal, and what a great cast. And thank you so much for creating it, to be honest.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. Thanks for talking with me. Have a good afternoon.
You too, Allison.
Thanks.